Welcome to the Wayward Skein podcast. This is episode number 73. My name is Lynn. You can find me pretty much everywhere on Ravelry as Tollbaby. Instagram, Ravelry, wherever. Facebook. I'm not Tollbaby on Facebook, obviously, but I'm there. So it's been 2 weeks since I recorded last. I meant to wait till the weekend, but I realized that the weekend's going to be like, I don't really get days off. I work 7 days a week. So the after work this evening actually turned out to be the best time. So I am working on getting those doors behind me taken away so that I can start working on setting up my closet the way I want it. I plan on having a TV mounted just below that shelf on this side eventually. That's not going to be anytime soon. And where this desk is now is going to be a love seat. This desk is going to be moving into my daughter's bedroom because she moved out over a year ago. So I start being that out so that I can move my office set up there and not live in this room 24/7 because I do spend an awful lot of time in here. I work the 2 jobs out of this bedroom, and I just realized that I forgot to plug my phone into charge. So give me 2 seconds while I do that. The cord is plugged into the other phone of the other computer. So there we go. Now that will be charging. So I've gotten a lot done since I last spoke to you guys. I've watched a lot of podcasts. I'm still finding new ones to watch, and it's kind of a problem because I can't keep up with the ones I already watch. So I'm starting to get overrun by podcasts. I mean, it's a good problem to have, and I do usually have time to keep up outside of work hours, but that also means that I'm sitting here outside of work hours, and I already work 9 to 5 for my day job, and I work 5 to 10:30 for my evening job. So I spend an awful lot of time in this chair. I have Thursday and Friday evenings off, and recently we have just started a new knit night in Ottawa, just west of downtown. We're getting together at Good Eats on Bell Street North. If you're in the Ottawa area and want to come join us, we're usually there from about 7 o'clock on. On Friday evenings, they're open till 9. So yeah, if you want to stop by and say hi, that'd be great. I decided that, okay, let's face it. My partner pushed me quite firmly into getting a social life. He's like, you never leave the house. You never talk to anybody. You never do anything with anybody. You need to get out. And I was like, well, I kind of did a long time ago, but between working 2 jobs over the last 10 years, because I think I started working at Michael's in 2010, and I've had a second job always since then. So, yeah, I started working a second job in 2010. And, well, okay, it was before that because I worked from home at a second job. Before that, I was a pizza order taker for a provincial chain. So I probably started around 2008 working a second job. So it's been a while. And I'm realizing that the food my son just cooked is very spicy because it's actually affecting me all the way across the house. He has a tendency to like up the spice level, but that's okay because he's just cooking for him. I had my dinner earlier. Wow. So, sorry. There has been a lot going on. I do have no finished objects whatsoever, although I did show you guys last week that I finished my Dixon cardigan for my niece. It's it. And I inserted some pictures at the beginning of her modeling it for me. It did not have buttons when she tried it on, but the reason it didn't have buttons is because my sister-in-law actually has her mother's button stash at home. And the whole point of the sweater was to make it something from Nana. And so the idea of them having Nana's buttons on the sweater that was made from Nana's yarn was kind of a big deal. And my brother is perfectly capable of sewing on buttons, so they were going to do that when they got back from their vacation. They're not back yet, so I haven't seen it with buttons on it yet. But yeah, she was very much looking forward to getting Nana's buttons on Nana's sweater. So she's very happy, and I got to take the other 2 nibblings measurements. I showed you the yarn that I was going to make their sweaters out of. I have a really colorful, it's all put away now, so I have a really colorful, I think it's Bernat Jacquard in pink and white colorway, pair with some Heart Sport black, and I have some navy blue and for my nephew. So the other 2 kids are going to get their sweaters. I need to buy needles or find needles in my stash, and I'm not there yet. I'm organizing other things right now, so I'm not there yet. So I will show you what I have worked on. I got a whole nother row done on my Project Linus blanket. So I think I was about here last time you saw it. So I got the whole rest of that row done, and I'm loving this yellow so much. It's like a mustardy yellow, and I suspect this one might be wool. So I might get in trouble for that one because I'm supposed to use synthetic fibers. So this one is Red Heart. This one is I can't remember the name of the yarn. It was a James Seabread of some kind, and it's, anyway, it's a random acrylic worsted stash. This one is Red Heart Stripes, I think, from the 1970s. Legitimately from the 1970s. So that one was a very, very, very old ball of yarn my mother had in her basement. Likely to make my brother or I a sweater at some point, but anyway, I ended up with it. This one, I actually know what it is, and it's showing way darker than it is. That's closer to the real color. So this is Knit Picks Bravo in, what the heck's the color? Give me a sec. Because this was my cousin's wedding blanket. I had 2 colors of turquoise and one of purple and one of gray. So this, oh, come on. I did a baby blanket for her kid after, when she had her first baby. So this one is Frisia, is the colorway. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Knit Picks Brava, not Bravo, worsted in Frisia. I had piles and piles and piles and piles of this. I still have quite a bit. I have some of the other 2 colors as well. I've got a little bit of the gray. This blue, like it's a little piece of, like it's a little scrap like that, so I have no idea what it is. This one is Patins Canadiana in a very bright green. It's not coming up anywhere near as bright. Like, this is obnoxiously bright green. That my mother had, again, in her stash. I think it was part of a big bag of yarn that a lady gave me. It was like a huge, huge garbage bag of yarn. The pink, this was dollar store yarn. I bought 2 skeins of pink and 2 skeins of gray when my kids were little, when I was first learning to knit. And this was this is leftovers from the pink that I had purchased. It actually was frayed, and unfortunately, when I started the new strand here, the stitch got like super raised. I don't know if you can see it, but it's like super raised up. But it's the working yarn that did that, not the ends. So I can't really fix it, but really. That's another red heart. This was from my friend Dara. It was part of her never-ending worsted stash. And this is Knit Picks Brava in Dove Heather. It was part of that blanket as well. So I got a whole row done, minus 1 square. And so I'm at 20% of the blanket because it's going to be 10 squares wide, 10 squares tall, and that should give me a 36 by 36 blanket. I'm just going to do a simple crocheted edge around it. I showed it to you last week, so I'm not going to, or last time, so I'm not going to show it to you again, but it's just going to be a plain crocheted border with like a scalloped border around that. No holes, because they don't want holes, because they're afraid that like babies and children's fingers will get caught in the holes, which is a valid concern. So no fancy edging on that one. Please don't fall. I've got my bag of scraps like right next to my desk, and I'm trying to have it not fall on the floor. I did make a little bit of progress on this. So I think I had done this square. I don't know if I had done this one. So this is one of my minis from Suger Crafts, Sue, G-E-R-S-U-E-G-E-R, Crafts on Etsy. I bought a whole bunch of minis from her. I think they're Regia or Opal or something like that. It's like that super not very soft workhorse yarn that comes in so many pretty colors. So anyway, that's what that is one of Sue's minis from Suger Crafts. I didn't actually weave in my ends on this square. I'm a little ashamed of myself because I always weave in my ends. This is a mini from a now defunct dyer called Gemini Fibers. It was given to me at a festival many years ago. I had a little business card attached to it. Lord knows what I did with it. It's not on my desk. So, but her company doesn't exist anymore. I looked it up, and she does not seem to be dying anymore. So that was a little sad. And I got this square done, which was it's S.R. Kurtzer On Your Toes sock. It was part of my stash. I don't remember what I did with it. I did not knit socks with it, but I don't remember. I think I broke it up into minis for like everybody and brought it to a festival, maybe Stitches Midwest at one point, and just gave it all away. Again, it's not a very soft sock yarn. It is not merino. It is just like rustic wool. It's not horribly scratchy, but it's not the most pleasant thing, especially after knitting this Gemini Fibers that was so soft. Very soft, lovely colors, but yeah, I feel bad now because I would have liked to knit with it and, maybe order some more while she was still dying. But yeah, this S.R. Kurtzer On Your Toes. I still have a little tiny blip of it left. There it is. Ta-da! That's what's left. I don't think it's enough for another square. It's got some blue and purple in it. The next couple of stripes. I don't think I have enough for another square. So it's going to go into my magic ball. But it's awfully close to the color that my magic ball is on right now. It's blues and purples. So I'm going to wait until I can get another color in between. The ball has been growing. This is my sock one. This is my worsted one. Because as I run out of the worsted scraps, I'm adding them to my ball because I will make more Project Linus blankets out of it, or Humane Society blankets or something like that. So this is my, it's upside down now. This is my Mitered Square Blanket that I started, hang on, I do have show notes. Why am I not looking at the show notes? So this is loosely based on the knitted patchwork recipe by Martine Ellis. It's not her stitch count. It's not her decrease. It's like very loosely based. I started this in December of 2019. I had another one that was like 24 square. I think this one's 14 across. So this is the whole thing. Ta-da! I had one that was 24 across and about 12 rows up, and it accidentally got destroyed. If you've been here before, you know that. So yeah, it accidentally got thrown away by some overzealous helpers who were helping me clean. And it's not their fault. I had it in a plastic bag. I really should have stored my projects better. But anyway, it got thrown away, and it took me a little while to be willing to start another one. And while the vast majority of my mini skeins are still missing, I have found another little bin. Sorry for the crinkle. Another little bin of minis. I have the box I showed you guys last time, and then I've got this little bin, which is mostly, some of it is mine, some of it is minis. Like these two minis I bought at Twist Festival. And again, the green is not showing up to true to color. The red isn't too far off. It's a little more bluish than it's showing. It's showing a very orange on my screen. So these two were ones that I bought at Stitches Midwest. Not Stitches Midwest, Twist. This is Townhouse Yarns, Clarendon Sock, MCN and Aqua something or other. I don't know who it's from, but it's very nicely labeled. I appreciate that. This one is Fine Fish Yarns. Again, don't know who it's from, but it does have little tags on it. It might be from my friend Kate. I'm not sure. I don't remember. I know this one is from my own stash. This was Night Owl Fibers. It was in the shawl that I knit for my wedding. That never happened. We won't get into that again. This one was from my stash. This is a pair of socks I knit myself. This is a baby sweater that I knit. This is Seattle Sky Dye Works. Seattle Sky Dye Works. I don't remember the colorway, but it was a lovely little baby sweater that I knit out of that. This teal was some yarn that Sue dyed up when she was considering becoming a dyer. I don't remember what this is, but I know it's in my blue Find Your Fade. I could probably look it up if I wanted to. I don't really want to right now. So anyway, I found this little bin of minis, and this was in it. So I've been motivated to work on the blanket again, which is lovely because it's a project that I do eventually want to finish, but it's going to take me years. It's going to be, I'm undecided if I'm going to make it into a lap blanket or make it into a full bed blanket, because the original purpose of the other one was to be our blanket on our bed. But that was a whole other partner ago. If that makes sense. So I'm undecided what I want to do with this one. We'll see. But yeah, I have loved picking it up and working on it again. I will admit that since I picked it up yesterday and put those squares on, I have not touched the Project Linus one, this one. But I will be picking this one up again tomorrow. So I've been working on this a little bit. I'll put that over there. Stay. And I picked up a whip that had not seen the light of day in I don't know how long. I misplaced one of the colors of yarn shortly after I started working on it. So this is a scarf of my own design. I mean, it's not complicated. I just cast on 40 stitches. I put four selvage stitches on each side, and it's just stockinette all the way down. So I'm doing 16 rows of each color. This is where the marker was when I pulled it out of the bag. And when I pulled it out of the bag, I noticed that, I think it was this section down here, was it that one? One of them was only 12 rows instead of 16, and it looked terrible, and I frogged it. And I think maybe it was was it above or below? Anyway, I had to frog like 3 or 4 rows, 3 or 4 stripes. I frogged to here. So it was this stripe that was shorter. It was this one. So I frogged all the way back to there. And because I had cut the yarn and woven in my ends between each ball, I had to supplement each little ball with about half a row's worth of yarn, because of course I'd woven in the ends and cut the yarn, so I didn't have enough to then do it again. But I got back to where I had been originally, which I think was about here. Yes, that's the last one. I had to redo the top. And then I got these 3 stripes done in the last 3 days. So it has almost doubled in size since I picked it out of the bag, and it is curling because, of course, it's not washed or blocked. It'll block out flat. It'll be fine. So I just decided to create a scarf. At the time, my youngest was like super into Harry Potter, which is why it's red and yellow. But she identifies as a Slytherin. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this now. I suspect I may give it to my cousin, or perhaps put it up on Etsy to sell, because I'm just knitting stuff to get rid of stash at this point. And so this is knit out of Barocco Remix, which is a beautiful yarn. There's a leaf there. I don't know where the leaf came from. Barocco Remix is a combination. It's like 5 or 6 different fibers. It's crazy. So Barocco Remix is a mix of nylon, 30% nylon, 27% cotton, 24% acrylic, 10% silk, and 9% linen. It's a somewhat rusticy yarn. Like, there are bits that I've been picking out of it because there are crunchy bits in it, but it is so soft. I knit myself a tank top in the navy blue, whatever the colorway is called, which I couldn't wear because it didn't fit properly, because I knew nothing about fitting patterns to my body type. And it's a size too small, I would wager. I made the biggest size, but it's not quite big enough for the girls. And the shoulder straps ended up too long because I followed the pattern exactly, and they were too long for my body. It just never worked out, so I've never worn it. I may frog it to reclaim the yarn because, oh my goodness, I love this yarn. It is so soft and squishy. It's an Aran weight, so it's pretty thick. This is Buttercup, and this is Strawberry. But I bought them in 2012 at a local yarn shop called Wabi Sabi. If you watch Little Big Knits with Selma, she mentions Wabi Sabi all the time. It's our local yarn shop. So I bought these in 2012. I bought 2 balls of each, and I misplaced the yellow about, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years ago, because I started this scarf. This was my New Year's Eve cast on December 31st, 2016. This was my New Year's Eve cast on. And the end is really simple. It's like, I think it's 8 rows of garter stitch, and then I just started with the pattern. So it's like super simple. My cast on edge is a bit of a mess, but again, it hasn't been blocked yet. So we'll see how it ends up. It's an enjoyable knit. It only takes me about an hour and a half to do one of the stripes. So my goal is to do one a day while I'm working on other things, and keep going until the red runs out, because I don't know where my second balls are anymore. If I can find them, I'll make it longer. But for right now, I don't really care. I just want to get it finished. And it's already, like, half of this is a pretty good length. Like, this is half the scarf, and it's already 4 feet long. So, and how much of the red ball do I have left? Because I don't have second balls for either of these colors, and the yellow ball is obviously bigger. So these were 100 gram skeins, and I have 42 grams of this left. So I'm about 60% done, I'd say, unless I find the other balls, in which case we'll see. I might make mittens and hat out of those. I don't know. Might make a whole set. Oh, and I forgot to mention these other minis I found. Sorry, this is going to be crinkly because it is cellophane. So I found this set of Pokemon Evolution mini skein set from Teeny Buttons Studio. Teeny Button Studio. She is still in business. She is still dyeing yarn. I don't remember how I got this set. I don't remember if somebody gave it to me or if I purchased it. But she is still in business. Just look up Teeny Button Studio. And she has got some of the nice, like, these are just so cute. And there's, sorry, I know it's crinkly. I'm sorry. So there's such nice colors, and they're very muted. And I'm very much looking forward to putting them in the blanket as well. So they've joined my little bin of minis. So yeah, the scarf is, I'm very disjointed. It's very late at night. And I probably should have waited till tomorrow to do this, but I'm in the office tomorrow. So tomorrow's going to be a long day. So anyway, the scarf is on size 5 millimeter, which is US 8. I suppose I didn't mention what I was doing the other two. So this is on size 4.5 millimeters, which is US 7. And this one is on 2.75 millimeter, which is US 2, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 2. So yeah, so this got started 2016. I pulled it out of hibernation. It's coming along. I had mentioned that there were a few things I wanted to frog. This was one of the things I was intending on frogging because I had started it. You know what? I'm going to finish with works in progress. I'm sorry. I'm a little disjointed tonight. When am I not? So the only other thing I've worked on this week is I got the, come out of there. I got the cuff finished for the Knotty glove by Julia Mueller, and I did nothing else. I didn't start with the chart because I have to be able to pay attention to the chart. And it's been a really heavy work week. I've done a little bit of overtime, and I didn't have the mental capacity to follow the chart. So I'm hoping to start on that the next 2 evenings because it is a, it's what, 60 row chart. Where the heck did my pattern go? It was right here. Sorry. It must have fallen off the, yeah, it fell on the floor. Anyway, I think it's about 60-ish rows for the pattern. And you start the thumb gusset partway through that. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, but I'm not going to give too much away because it is a very lovely pattern. And if you want to knit it, I don't want to spoil it for you. So I got the cuff done, and now I got to start on the chart, and I haven't had the time to do that. And that is sitting in my little freckled whimsy bag that I have folded over. It's little, it's giraffes and wild animals, and it's a cute little bag. I don't have a lot of project bags. I don't acquire project bags. Like it's usually I just knit out of a bowl on my desk, but I do have a few lying around, and so that one is just a nice size to sit under my monitor on my desk. So I'll put it back where it was, and it just sits there nicely because my son stole my yarn bowl. It was actually a cereal bowl, and he came into my room last week while I was at the office, and he's like, "Oh, well, that's clean. I'll take that," rather than wash himself a bowl. So that's it for works in progress. That was, by the way, the Knotty gloves were started on December 20th, and the goal is to finish them by the week of Easter, the week before Easter, because that's when they're going to be given to their recipient. So this is a scarf that I started, let me see, I didn't even look, because I only found it like 2 minutes before I was going to record. It is the School at Play scarf by Sharon Winsauer. It's in a book I have. And of course I don't have the name of the book. It's on my bed. It is One-Skein, it is Sock Yarn One-Skein Wonders. Sorry. So this is out of Sock Yarn One-Skein Wonders. It was a random, I just picked this random skein of yarn out of my stash. And it was Tannis Fiber Arts Blue Label Fingering in Lilac. My friend Crystal gave it to me because she was like, "What do you mean you've never tried Tannis Fiber Arts yarn?" And I was like, So she gave this to me. And it is, I know what she means now. Wow. It is so soft and squishy, and I love it. But I was going to frog it because I had misplaced the book when I moved. Well, I found it. I found it this week. I was unpacking a box, and I found a sweater that I had done the yoke and the top of one sleeve for it. And the worst part is I have no idea what this sweater was. It was not the sweater I bought the yarn for, so I haven't got the first freaking clue what it is. I had bought the pattern. Give me a second. It's at the bottom of my projects. I had bought, nope, it's not there. So I had bought the Hard on Your Sleeve cardigan by Fiona Ellis. And I don't think, do I have it there? Hard on Your Sleeve, there it is. So I bought the Hard on Your Sleeve pattern by Fiona Ellis. And I'm just going to go look at it because I don't know what the heck I was knitting with this yarn, but it wasn't this. So I actually picked up some Knit Picks Wool of the Andes Sport in the Merlot Heather colorway, I think. And it was to knit this sweater. This Hard on Your Sleeve by Fiona Ellis, which is gorgeous, gorgeous cabled cardigan. It's absolutely beautiful, and I do want to knit it. But I have no idea what basket weave monstrosity I was knitting out of this yarn. It's in a bag in the other side of the closet. That's why it's in one of my Trader Joe bags, which are really nice bucket bags with a bunch of pockets on the outside. So I have no idea what I started knitting with this yarn, but there's no pattern in the bag. It is not something I recognize. It's not in my Ravelry, and it's butt ugly. I'm not a small person. Can you imagine basket weave stitch all over? It is the ugliest damn thing. The yarn doesn't suit the stitch. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why I did this, but it's been packed away for at least 2 years. I haven't touched it in all that time because it's been in a box for God knows how long. I don't know what it is. So this one will not be frogged because I have now found the pattern, and I do really like the scarf. It's a zigzaggy pattern, like the edges are all zigzaggy. And it's got these cute little fishies in it. And I was actually really enjoying knitting it. But I misplaced the pattern for 1.5 years. So now I have found it, and it's one of my favorite Chow Gu lace needles too, which makes me happy. It is, I think this is a size 5. Too far. School at Play. So the School at Play, yes, this is a US 5, which is a 3.75 needle. And this is, I swear, one of my favorite needles. I love the Chow Gu lace. I actually want to buy Chow Gu lace for the sweater that I want to start. But they're bloody expensive. I mean, I know they're not signature expensive. I know they're not buying a set of needles expensive, but they're about $16 a piece. So I'm a little, it's going to have to wait a couple, probably 2 paydays before I can start that sweater. But yeah, so this is going to go into the rotation once I'm done with the Gryffindor scarf. Good Lord. Sorry, I wasn't expecting that. It's going to go back into the rotation as soon as I'm done with the Gryffindor scarf. I think I'm about not quite halfway. I've got the scale right here. Let's check it out. I'm kind of obsessed with weighing my yarn. I'm almost exactly halfway through the skein. So this is 51 grams. So it's not going to be a super, super long scarf, but it was meant to be a light, cute little accent piece. I wear a lot of black, as you can tell. I don't usually wear camo, but this shirt was on sale and it fit me. So I bought it. It's a Walmart special. So that is living in a little bag that Selma of Little Big Knits made for me when she was starting to set up. She was practicing for bags she was going to sell in her shop, which I don't think she still has. But this was one of hers that she made. I think it's a Marimekko fabric, if I'm not mistaken. And the inside is just like, it almost looked like little knit stitches, but yeah, it's just this nifty little stripy thing. So that is one of the few project bags that I actually use a lot. And lest Amanda feel left out, because my friend Amanda, who was, what was her podcast? I don't remember. But my friend Amanda made me this one with the little owl hearts. And it's got my, the diagonal scarf that I want to frog and reknit wider as maybe sort of a wrap. Not quite a wrap, but a bigger scarf anyway, is what I'm looking for. So that is what I'm doing. I'm covered now. So I'm going to pause this for a second. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I was just checking to see who had texted me. So that's all I've been working on. I feel like I've been knitting pretty much constantly, but I don't have a lot of progress to show on anything because it's all little modular bits. Even the scarf, I mean, I cut the yarn and weave in the ends after every stripe, so there's no like whole bunch of ends to weave in at the end of the scarf because that makes me very unhappy. And so it is a modular knit. I've been doing one stripe at a time and then cutting the yarn and weaving in the ends. So, you know, I've been working on a lot, but I haven't progressed a lot. But a little bit of progress on a lot of different things is still progress. So I'm pretty happy, excuse me, with what I've managed with that. Try not to drop my water bottle here. So as I said, I've been obsessed with finding new podcasts. I do not know what is the matter with me. And the worst part is that I discover all these podcasts and I tell you guys about them. And then that podcast takes off. And I'm sitting here going, oh well. I'm glad they're all finding a lot of popularity and they really do deserve it. And I'm not, you know, it's not, that's not why I podcast. I podcast because I enjoy doing it. And, you know, I enjoy talking to the 6 of you once every couple of weeks. There's more than 6 of you. Not much more, but there's more than 6 of you. So in the past couple of weeks, I have picked up on 5 new podcasts, and I'm about to start a 6th because I did not know about Earth Tones Girl. And I really want to check her out because I've heard good things, and I saw it pop up in one of my suggested videos this week. So I do want to check her out this coming week. But in the last 2 weeks, I have started watching Overachievers since I recorded last 14 days ago, some of these people have posted 3 episodes. Slow down. I only have so many hours in a day. I feel like all I'm doing it's all I'm doing is watching podcasts these days and knitting. So I have started watching 2 podcasters who actually were originally from the same podcast. They were from Meanwhile at the Castle. Now they're each podcasting individually. They're sisters, and it's just their schedules don't mesh up anymore, so they decided to do individual podcasts for a little while. So I've been watching Emily from Salt City Yarns. I'm actually in the middle of one of her episodes right now. And Deborah from Candy Shop Yarn. I'll admit I do enjoy Emily's style a little bit more than Deborah's, but I am enjoying both of them. I never watched Meanwhile at the Castle when they were podcasting together, so I may check out one of their older episodes at some point. But I am enjoying both of them. They're very different styles. I would say Emily is a little bit more... I don't want to say that Deborah's podcast is a little more commercial, but she does own a yarn dyeing business and she does feature a lot of her own products and so on and so forth. It's not in a bad way. Sorry, I'm still choking on his cooking. It's not in a bad way. It is very enjoyable to watch, and both their personalities are really fun and a lot of, I find Emily a little more relaxing to watch and Deborah a little more energetic. Is the vibe I get, but I very much have been enjoying both of them. I would highly recommend checking them out. Emily is on episode 3, and I believe Deborah is on like 8 or 9 at this point. I started watching Deborah at episode 5, so I didn't start from the beginning like I do with most of the other people. I started watching Daniela of A Knitter's Suitcase. She is an Italian lady living in Perth, Australia, with her family, her husband and her 2 kids. Fascinating, like really, really interesting stories that she has about, she's lived in the UK, she's obviously lived in Italy, she's lived in Australia for a little while, like she's been all over the place, and she's got some really fascinating stories to share. Also, her knits are super cool. She really loves color, and she's knitting some really, really awesome stuff. It seems like everybody is knitting Stephen West's new pattern, I don't remember what it's called. Poop. Give me a sec. The new one is called, it would help if they put them in order, but of course they don't. It is called Fractal something or other, I think. I'm trying to find it. There it is, the Fragmentation Shawl. Everybody is knitting this thing. Like almost every podcast I've watched in the last 2 weeks is working on this. Everybody's working on it. And I kind of want to too. But I'm not going to jump into it because I want it to be a thought out project. If I'm going to knit myself a massive shawl, I want it to be thought out, and I want it to be planned, and I don't want it to just be willy-nilly like I did the Find Your Fades, and I just like went through my stash and grabbed stuff. I really want to consider what I'm going to put in this. It is going to be all stash yarn, but I want to take a look at the the pattern. I want to I've been getting some ideas from what other people are doing. Emily is knitting it in white and then colored stripes. And her white is held double with I think it's a Surrey alpaca. So she's got a lot of fuzz and halo to hers. And I was like, yeah, I'm not big on that because I can't wear alpaca and I'm not crazy about mohair. Like I've never tried to wear mohair, but that makes it super warm, which is kind of not what I'm going for. Like I know it's going to be warm, but adding extra warmth is really not a good plan for me. One of the reasons I don't knit a lot of knitted garments, I don't wear a lot of knitted garments, is because I get too hot. I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt right now, and I was outside with it today, and it was 1 degree outside. I think it went up to 4 at the warmest. And I was outside in this, and I was perfectly comfortable. I wasn't cold at all. I was totally comfortable in this, and I'm a little warm in my house. It's cold in my house because I keep the heat turned down because downstairs keeps it cranked up. So I don't turn my heat on very often, even in the middle of winter. It hasn't been a cold winter, so I haven't had to. There's been a couple of nights where it's been like I'm freezing and I turn the heat up a couple of degrees. But most of the time, like the heat in the living room is not on currently. Neither is the heat in the bathroom. We have our bedrooms that slightly on. Of course, Erin's bedroom is turned off because she's not here. But like I don't have the heat turned on that high most of the time. But anyway, so I don't want to make it extra warm. God, I can go off on tangents. Sorry, I have something on my screen showing. So I do want to knit the Fragmentation Shawl. It is in the plans. And everybody's working on it. Deborah is doing hers in like super fun, really bright summer colors. Who else was working on one? I think the next podcast I'm going to mention is working on one as well, or just starting one. So I've also been watching the yarn randomizer, who is Anna from Ohio. She's got a really cool premise to her podcast. She has a big bin of little wooden chips that have numbers on them, and that corresponds to items in her stash. And every time she finishes something or she feels like casting something on, she gets her husband to pick a chip out of this big bin she's got. And it's just a random thing from her stash. And she goes and grabs that thing and she figures out what she's going to make with it. It's a really, really fun podcast. She's got a background in mathematics. She's a mathematician. And some of the discussions some of the things she brings up in her podcast are super fascinating, especially to somebody who, like me, who like barely understands basic math. I'm not so good with the math. But I did manage to ace my math class when I was doing it for my college diploma, which I'm very close to finishing up. I have one class left. So Knitted Suitcase with Daniela and the Yarn Randomizer, Anna. Anna is also on episode 3, I think, 2 or 3. Daniela is on episode 2. I just watched it. Both of them a lot of fun. And Anna is a character. I really hope I get to meet her in person someday because I think we would really get along. So far, a lot of our styles are like really vibe. And I really hope I get to meet her in Meet Space one day. So go show them some love as well. And one episode that I didn't quite get through the whole thing, I have to go back to it because my shift started at work and I couldn't keep watching it, was Pine Barren Knits with Keisha and Hope. So Hope has been knitting her whole life, I think, mainly. Keisha has been knitting for about 5 years. Hope taught her to knit. But Keisha has been crocheting her whole life. So I was having a lot of fun watching them. They live in the Pine Barren area of, I know I don't remember what state it was. Poop. I do that a lot. Details just go out of my brain. So anyway, in the Pine Barren, that's going to bug me. Florida, maybe? No. I don't remember. It was somewhere I've never been. But they make the area sound so interesting, and I'm really going to have to rewatch that episode because I want to know where they are. But yeah, they were a lot of fun. Really, really a lot of fun. A little bit crazy. Hope also has the problem of, offspring trying to make their way through the podcast. I don't know. I was telling my partner the story last week that at one point when Sue had come over to my house to record the podcast, Rob and the kids were at home and everybody was in the house. And at one point, Zach decided he was going to go outside, but we were in the living room filming with the camera pointed towards where he had to walk by to get to the door. So he decided to army crawl across the floor behind us, and we just literally just turned and looked at him the whole time, and then told you guys that he was army crawling across the floor. And he's like, "Way to ruin the stealth, Mom." I think he was about 13 or 14 when that happened. It was hilarious. So she had her son tried to walk through the podcast, and she's like, no, go around. It was quite funny, and it brought back that memory for me, so I really enjoyed it. So those are the podcasts I've watched, and I've been babbling for 45 minutes, and I'm a little ashamed of myself because I really didn't have that much to talk to you about. But you know me. I get on a tangent, and I can just go. So I'm going to stop here. Lots of works in progress, lots of new podcasts, and there will be more the next time, and I subscribe to all of them, and the Knit Girls have been doing shorter episodes lately, which has been helping. So thank you, ladies. And I've actually been very much enjoying the progress that Andrew of the Albanach Knitter has been seeing. So I talked to you guys about him, I don't think it was last episode, it was the episode before. That's when he started his podcast. It is a month later, and he's up to 10,000 viewers almost. I think he was like, I'm having a giveaway for my 5,000 subscribers, but I think he's actually up close to 10,000 now. In 5 episodes. Way to go, Andrew. His podcast is unique. I've never seen another one like it. He actually goes on walks around the island that he lives on, the island of Arran in Scotland. Not the Isle of Arran in Ireland. Arran in Scotland. And he will take walks around the island. He'll show you historical stuff about the island. This time he went off to England to pick up a tortoise that I think was their pet, and they moved and had to leave him behind for a little while, so he went to pick up the tortoise and shared little bits along the way. He stopped at Gretna Green. He stopped at a few yarn stores along the way. One was in North Yorkshire, and I don't remember what the other one was, but he stopped at, he was showing all this stuff. And then he takes a walk up to this little building on the island that he lives on, and it's called the library, and it's, check it out. Check out the library on the Isle of Arran, Arran. Just check it out. It is fascinating. Watch his podcast if you haven't seen it, because holy cow. I just really, really enjoy his podcast. And another one who is on her second episode now is Jane of Cornwall, hang on. I'm going to go into my subscriptions. What was she called? Her page, her actual channel is called Stitches and Cream and Cream Falmouth. So her podcast is called The Cornish Knitter. Sorry, I was stuck on Jane and I couldn't remember the name of the podcast. So her shop that she owns is called Stitches and Cream Falmouth in Cornwall. And she's on her second episode. And again, she went out and showed a bunch of scenery. She lives right on the coast. Beautiful, beautiful scenery. And, she's a very experienced knitter and was showing some, she's got tools that she's picked up along the way that she was having fun showing us. And just really, really nice, relaxing, easygoing podcast. And I know I've mentioned her before. I mentioned her in the last episode, but definitely, like, a lot of these new podcasters are really, really putting out some quality content, and I've really been enjoying it. And I did say I was going to shut up, didn't I? Like 4 minutes ago. And here I am still talking. So anyway, if you like hanging around, give me a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button. I've had a couple of new folks subscribe since the last episode, so thank you for coming back. If you're new, yeah, I'm very disjointed and rambly, and sorry. That's just me. So I'm going to say good night and try to get this up tonight. And I will talk to you guys again in probably about 2 weeks. I hope everybody has a great rest of their week. Bye.